fight week for LFA 72, Mika Frankl, and I'm joined by Jacob McClintock. Sir, how you doing?
Doing wonderful, man. Just enjoying this Arizona heat.
What are you at today?
What's that?
What's the temperature up at today?
I don't even know. It's hot as really hot. I got my daughter here with me, so.
Okay, so it's that hot. It's in the triple figures. I know. I'm here in New Mexico, and we were on the verge of that.
It's definitely in the triple digits.
Yeah, it was about 95, getting up to 100 when I went out just a little bit ago. So, does that heat make it? Is that heat an added advantage for cutting weight because you're just sweating the moment you walk out the door?
Yeah, I mean, it always helps, but I enjoy it, man. It's kind of one of those things that helps build those calluses on the mind, you know? I mean, a lot of times I talk to my friends about going out for a run, and they're like, it's too hot. I don't want to go. And I'm like, you're a pussy. It's not even that hot. You know, but, yeah, I mean, it's good for cutting weight and whatnot, but I like it, man. It's nice to be back in Arizona. I've been in Charleston for like 5 years now, so I'm used to that, like 90% humidity heat, which ain't no fun either, but it's good. I enjoy it.
Which would you rather have, the dry heat or the humid heat?
Dry heat.
Yeah, I'm with you there, bro. I am totally with you.
Every day. I don't like the moisture, man. It's especially with the amount of, you know, because I own my own gym and, you know, I train and stuff, so the amount of clothes that I go through on a day-to-day basis that end up soaking wet, it's nice to be able to, you know, here I could throw my gi and everything outside, and that stuff's dry in like 10 minutes. Back home, it's like 3 days, and then there's mold growing on it. It's crazy, but yeah, definitely the dry heat, man. It's a lot easier on my lungs and everything else. I got a lot of ear infections, moisture and stuff built up in my sinuses like the first 2-3 years that I moved to Charleston, just because of the moisture. And, you know, living in Arizona for 25 years, I'm used to that dry heat. So once I went out there, I kept getting these weird ear infections and sinus infections and just all kinds of stuff that had to do with the moisture. Now I'm finally used to it. About 5 years later.
So now you're back in Arizona, though. That's where you're living again, right?
I'm just here for 2 weeks. I was here last week and this week. I leave Sunday to go back to Charleston. I mean, I have a gym that I run full time.
And that is
in Charleston.
And what's the name of your gym?
Tock Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
And now
I opened that up about 2016 or something. So it's been about 3 years. I went out there to originally train to teach at another gym, and just the owner and me really didn't mesh well, and you know, he ran off a lot of the other coaches and stuff, so I just kind of decided to part ways. I already had a little group of students that were there that were, you know, ready to ride with me if I left, so decided to go do my own thing. And kind of now I'm at a point now to where I'm actually able to do these fights and be able to leave, and I have students there that are, you know, they're awesome. They take care of everything. They teach, and, you know, basically they run the show while I'm gone, and allows me to focus on the fighting and stuff. Because I mean, if you talk to a lot of these guys, man, I'm sure they got a lot of other stuff going on and whatnot, but it's hard to be able to fight, have a career in this sport, and also have a full-time job or do something else on the side. So for me to be able to leave, and, you know, I give my students a lot of credit, man. They help me out more than I can ever wish for. So luckily I'm able to do that, come out here for a couple of weeks, get back with my old coaches and train, and, you know, basically get my bearings again and get back to this weather and whatnot. So it's good, man. I enjoy it. I have a lot of good guys out there, and yeah, man, it's fun. So it's a lot of work, but it's fun. I can't complain, man. I'd rather be doing this than working in a cubicle, you know.
And not even as an MMA fighter, but as a martial artist, what kind of pinnacle or moment was that for you to open up your own facility and to take that kind of branching out effort, to go in that direction? What was that like for you?
Oh, man, I mean, it was a bunch of stuff that happened that basically allowed me to do that. So long story short, I was training, competing and stuff, and I went to a tournament in Vegas, and I ended up blowing my knee out. So I tore my ACL and MCL and had a, bad few months, and I was pretty much just giving up on my career, and ended up moving to Alaska and working with my uncle doing land surveying. When I was up there, I got a call about that job that I was telling you about, and I was like, you know what, if I'm not going to be able to fight anymore for myself, because at that time they told me like my knee's pretty messed up. So, but I was like, I'm gonna look into coaching. You know what I mean? I've always enjoyed seeing people progress and get better and change their lifestyle and mindsets through jiu-jitsu or martial arts. So I was like, I'm going to do that. And then just slowly but surely, everything just kind of fell into place. I ended up getting my knee. My knee's 100% healed. I'm good. And everything's good. So now, like I said, I'm able to kind of get back to focusing on me, because at that point before I had blown my knee out, I had just fought in Brazil. I was working my way up towards, a bigger show and stuff. And my mind was already there. So when I hurt myself, I kind of was like, you know what, screw this. I'm done. I don't know why I'm doing this. And, after the time off and just kind of took some time off and focused on getting, what did I want to do with my life type thing. And, martial arts has always been something that I don't just like, I need it. You know what I mean? It's like a drug. It's something that it's weird to explain to somebody that doesn't do it, but it's something that makes me whole, not necessarily like beating people up, but just the camaraderie, the people that are doing it, hearing people's stories, cause I can't tell you how many times I've had students or training partners that, they work 10, 12-hour days and still come in with a smile on their face and they're ecstatic to be in the gym. And it's like, those type of people motivate me to push myself and, keep going. So
when and where did that journey start?
It keeps me out of trouble.
When and where did that journey start with martial arts?
For me, man, I mean, I've always been interested in this stuff. I didn't really always know about it, but like, kickboxing and things like that. Like I've always watched like the Van Damme movies and things like that. So I've always been interested in that. But I would say like the late 90s, my dad started renting UFC videos, and he showed me these, and I watched them, and pretty much from probably 10 years old, I was like, this is what I want to do. And at the time we were living in Yuma, and there was no martial arts schools there at all. There was like a couple little ones. I went and trained at like a little martial arts school. They kind of did their own thing. But once I moved to Phoenix, there was a little MMA show that we seen a flyer for at Hooters or something, and we ended up going and ended up getting a flyer for a gym. And pretty much since then, man, it was December 2001, November 2001 is when I started training full time, like jiu-jitsu, mixed martial arts, stuff like that. So,
and now, and we've got the career going on. Over the last 3 years since you've decided to return, it's been 3 fights. Well, what's been the problem finding action?
Oh man, I don't know. To be honest, I've had a few fights pull out. And especially where I'm at, there's not a lot of fight organizations in the Southeast. There are in like Florida and stuff like that, and Atlanta, but it's difficult for me to get a fight, I guess, just for the fact that, not necessarily my record, but my credentials. I mean, I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, which out there they're still working on getting up to speed on the West Coast, but there's not a lot of guys out there that are willing to take that risk to fight somebody that, could possibly knock them out or submit them, is my view on it. But, I mean, it's kind of one of those things, man, that after all the stuff that I've been through in my life, I look at it like, yeah, I mean, it sucks. I'm not making the money that I want. I'm not getting the experience that I want, but there's a reason for it. So I'm just kind of, going with the punches, man, moving, doing my thing, and trying to stay active, keep training and whatnot, and just, my time will come. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If not, then it's not. You know what I mean? I can't really put too much pressure on people to take fights or this, that, or the other. So, like I said, man, I'm just kind of taking it one day at a time. And this was a good opportunity for me. This is something that, I've been wanting to do, is come back and fight back home in Arizona. So had to jump on this while I could.
And talking about that, Friday night you're facing Raymond Pina. What do you know about him coming in with an 8-3 record? You have one more fight, but obviously a lot more experience in terms of length in this game.
Mhm.
So what do
I don't really know the guy. I don't really do like research like that per se. I mean, I've had a couple training partners that have fought him before, so I kind of got a little information from them. I looked up his record. I know he's kind of like a wrestler, ground and pound type stuff. But I don't know, man. My whole philosophy on MMA is it doesn't really matter who's stepping in front of me, as long as I'm prepared and I'm in the right mindset. You put whoever in front of me, I'm going to fight them, and I'm going to, win or lose, I'm going to give it 100%. So I try not to focus on my opponents too much. I mean, obviously, I would like to have a game plan and kind of have an idea of what they're going to do. But like I said, if I prepare myself properly and I'm in the right mindset, I don't really feel that there's anybody out there that can beat me.
Has part of that also...
That's where I'm at now.
And has part of that also played into why, win or lose, from what I found, you've never seen a second round?
Honestly, that's just my fighting style, I like to make it entertaining, and again, my view on a fight is I want to finish it as fast as possible so I can get out and spend time with my friends and family and hang out, and you know what I mean. I'd rather finish them, and also, I don't really feel the winning sensation going to decisions, and yeah, I guess the losses really weren't I didn't really want to lose, but yeah, it's part of the game. But yeah, I like to have exciting fights, man. So I'm always out there to finish. I don't want to, I want to finish them or get finished, and it's probably not the best mindset to have sometimes, but for me it works. I haven't really been hurt too bad or anything like that, and I've always had fun. Even in my last fight, I didn't have a very good showing. I had a lot of complications and stuff leading up to the fight, which not an excuse, but I don't feel like I lost. I feel like it was one of the most beneficial learning experiences for me, because I've seen things that I haven't seen before. I've done things that I haven't done before. So again, it's all a learning experience. So, but yeah, as far as the first round stuff, I don't really. If I could have it my way, I would fight a 2-minute fight. I want to get in and out as quickly as possible.
So to say, over the last 3 years, even though you've been not as active as you'd like to be, it's still a better place to be in than where you were, what was that, 6-7 years ago with the knee injury?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like I said, the knee injury was one of those things that I think, it matured me a lot. It made me realize that I'm not invincible, that I'm not going to be able to do whatever I want to do and, my body's going to end up breaking down. So it gave me the opportunity to start taking care of my body a little bit more, as far as like just stretching and making sure that I'm warming up before class, and, just those basic things, man. Once you hit 30, man, it's all downhill from here, especially in this sport.
Right. We all start feeling it eventually.
Yeah, but in my early 20s, man, and even around that time, I wasn't in the best mindset for the sport. I've had drug issues and alcohol issues my whole career, basically, ever since I was 12, 13 years old. I've experimented with everything that you could pretty much think of known to man. I was addicted to meth for several years. I was doing heroin, painkillers, Xanax, all that stuff, man. When I was fighting in Bellator, my first 2 fights with Bellator were both, I was withdrawing from Oxycontin the last 2-3 weeks before the fights, and dealing with stuff like that is all. It's something that I wish that I would have taken the advice of my coaches and friends and family at the time, but it's kind of one of those things I had to go through to realize how important the people around me and my life and the choices that I make are to try to at least put my best foot forward and try to set a better example, especially now that I have students and, I got a 9-year-old daughter and, so I'm trying to do my best to make them see, I guess, a way to live life, and not have to deal with drug addiction or stuff like that. Using martial arts, like I said, is something that I need because of that type of stuff. I need to get out that aggression and wear myself out and all that stuff. So I don't want to go out and do something stupid. I've had multiple DUIs and, since I was 18 years old, I've been legally allowed to drive for 2 months. I still can't legally drive right now. I'm 31 years old. It's all about stupid decisions that I made when I was younger. So learning from those experiences, man, has changed my perspective on a lot of stuff. And like I said, it's just like the fighting stuff. I go with the flow, man. Win or lose, as long as I go out there and I feel like I gave it 100% and, I put the work into the gym, I can't really be frustrated or mad with myself because I did everything that I could. He was the better man. And, I'm going to do my best to hold my chin up high and, be proud with my performance. But like I said, man, everything happens for a reason. So, me blowing out my knee and doing all these things, it's changed me for the better and has made me, the person I am now, which at the time I didn't realize that. But like I said, all the things that have happened over the course of, the past 10 years has made me this person that I am now. Like I said, a lot of people get worried about fighting. I genuinely enjoy it, and I look at it as a competition. I've had a long road to get here, so it's exciting for me more than anything. I'm not really worried, win or lose, anything like that. I want to go out there and put on the best performance that I can. And, if I get the W, awesome. If I don't, then you know what? I'm going back to the drawing board and working on what I need to work on and moving on with my life, It's kind of one of those things is, the world will move on. It doesn't matter who you are. You're still going to be you, and you're still going to go through life and do you. And you just gotta keep moving forward, I guess. It's the best thing that I've ever done is just keep moving. You know what I mean? Keep it going. So.
And see, it's a story like that, a tale like that I don't know if people fully understand when they're watching MMA, that football, basketball, baseball, those are games. Martial arts is this
Right.
all-encompassing, life-changing experience that it becomes a lifestyle and it's able to affect lives so much. So I'm really thank you for sharing that. Your story is amazing. And what was really one of those pivotal moments you can give us that really helped you to turn everything around, that helped you to realize what wasn't...
Man, that's the thing is like, I was talking with my coach about it the other day, Trevor Lowley, and I was kind of telling him, that, hey, man, I've really cleaned up my life. And, he just looked at me and kind of smirked and was like, we'll see, man. I've heard this before. And it's like, one of the things with me, man, is like, I have to make the mistake over and over and over and over again to realize it. And, it's kind of like, I always put things into perspective, like with jiu-jitsu. So that's what I teach. I teach full time. So trying to give people like to think more, but it's just like jiu-jitsu. I mean, sometimes you're going to sit there and make a mistake over and over and over and over again until somebody goes, hey, man, this is how you do that. Or you see it and you make the correction. So for me, I always thought that I was doing fine. Like, I always thought that I had the control, But honestly, man, it was the repetitive over and over and over again of getting clean and then doing good things, like, get a fight or this, that, or the other. And then back down that rabbit hole. And, I'm not saying that, I'm perfect in any way, shape, or form, but, the one thing that I can admit to is that I fucked up. I've done many, many dumb things and regret them, but the thing is that I've learned from them now. And, every day it's a struggle. I mean, every day I think about drugs and alcohol and this, that, and the other, but it's like my goals outweigh those now, so it's kind of one of those things it wasn't one specific thing that really changed my perspective. It was the whole, as a whole, it was all of it, you know what I mean? Because I kind of went from one drug to another. I started out at 14 doing cocaine and then moved to meth and then switched to pills. I went to like doing Percocets, Oxycontins, Xanax, and then heroin. And most recently is just kind of alcohol. Like I just, so easy to get. You can drink whatever. It's accepted. You don't look like a bad person for being drunk the next day. You know what I mean? So it's like people don't think of it as like an actual drug, but yeah, it is. I mean, there's all drugs. Cigarettes, tobacco, all that stuff. So
exactly,
it's kind of just one of those things, man. That I see students or friends or that are going through the same problems and stuff, and it's I try to help them out with the advice that that's helped me is staying in the gym, associate with the right people, put yourself in in that mindset that you're better than that, and again, everybody slips up, everybody has bad days and stuff, but it's about how you react to those that make you who you are, so every time that I think about something like that, I always try to put into perspective on what I want to do, which is fight and have a successful career in this. And I'm not even talking about being like a Conor McGregor or anything like that. I just want to be able to give it 100% and see where it takes me. So, and again, I think with my story, it resonates with a lot of people too, because in this sport, man, it's not easy, and there's a lot of easy routes that people take, and a lot of them are drug induced, and they don't really understand what they're doing until it's too late. I can't tell you how many friends and family that I've had that, have been prescribed pills and things and from doctors, and they think that their life's okay. And it's like, what happens when that prescription runs out and you can't get no more? You're going to be in a mindset that I've thought about committing suicide multiple times, not recently, but from drugs and stuff like that, being, withdrawing and wondering about why is my life like this? Who did this? And it's like, it's all my fault. I don't blame anybody. You know what I mean? Like, I don't blame my parents for having drug issues when I was a kid, or, they still have alcohol problems, and, I'm not trying to put them on blast or anything like that, but, I come from a family of alcoholics and drug addicts. So it's like, I don't blame them for giving me that seed, I guess you could say, of having that in my mind. I have to put that into perspective and understand that I do have a problem, but I need to be able to transfer my energy and stuff like that I would put into drugs into something positive, which again is jiu-jitsu and fighting and stuff like that. Because again, I'm not saying that I change lives on a day-to-day basis, but some of my students, man, have changed my life more than I have theirs, if that makes sense, man. I mean, it's seeing some of these guys go from goofy, nerdy, weak, mindsets and stuff to being, these people that get after it, man. They come at me and they put me down and they beat me up, and it's awesome to see people reach their potential. And again, that's kind of one of those things that drives me now is seeing that, what I mean? Being able to change people's mindsets. And like I said, I'm not trying to build world champions, MMA fighters. I'm trying to make people better people, I want them to be the best person that they could be. And in that process, I'm working on myself. So it's like, I'm trying to be better for them, to be better for me, to be better for them. It's kind of like that snowball effect, man. I'm trying to be a better me. If I'm a better me, then I'm going to be a better coach. I'm going to be a better father. I'm going to be a better friend. So part of it, man, is just getting to know yourself sometimes, and I mean, as much as drugs have done bad things, they've also done good things too, because I've realized how important good friends, family, things like that are to you, students, stuff like that, you know what I mean? So I cherish those moments that I have with those people and make sure that I try to be as good of a person to them as I can, in the hopes that they'll do it in return. But I don't expect anything in return from like my students or anything like that, man. The only thing that I want from them is to be happy and be better students, and learn jiu-jitsu and be better people, and that in return will make me happy. You know what I mean? If I could do this for free, man, if I was a millionaire, I would still have a gym, man. It's the feeling of, like I said, changing somebody's perspective. They might come in with that mentality of like, they're not good at nothing, they're not this, they're not that, and it's like after 6 months of proving themselves wrong, they make a 300 and some degree turn. They're just a different person. They work differently. They're at work and they're grinding, they're getting after, they're doing what they need to do. which again, it makes me think, all right, man, well, that means that I could do more, so it's pushing me. They drive me and they make me better. I make them better. It's a good thing. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's all about having those right people around you. If I was still doing drugs and hanging out after the gym with bad people that are, doing drugs or whatever that is, I'm going to end up being a worse person. You know what I mean? So it's all about associating with the right people, putting yourself in the right situations and understanding. And that's a big thing with especially society nowadays. I think that nobody really knows what they want. They all work these jobs that suck and they hate them and this, that, and the other. And it's like they have nothing fulfilling in their life. For me, the most fulfilling, like stuff that was more like of a high to me than drugs or alcohol or anything like that was the feeling of getting your hand raised. Walking into the cage and fighting another person or doing these jiu-jitsu tournaments, you know what I mean? It's something that you can't really describe to a person that hasn't done it, There's something that is involved with that. And even, when my students go and compete, it's that same type of feeling, man. When they win and they put in that work and they do things that they didn't expect to be able to do, I mean, it's very rewarding, more than money-wise. Like I said, man, I've had a long, tough road to get here, but I'm very blessed in the fact that I have good people around me that want to see me do well, and vice versa. I want to see them do well. So it's a good situation, man. Like I said, I'm in a very good place with that. So very happy to be where I'm at.
Has that new support system helped you with getting through fight night? Because I don't mean the fight, but there's the atmosphere and there's the party atmosphere afterwards.
I mean, I honestly, man, I give like 110% credit to my students for keeping me excited. Like I went through those ups and downs, like I said, after I blew out my knee and stuff, and I didn't know if I even wanted to train. You know what I mean? Like I would show up to class some days and just be like, I don't even fucking want to be here.
How'd you figure out this is what you wanted?
Yeah, well, huh?
How'd you figure out this is what you wanted?
The gratification that I get from teaching and seeing my students progress. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like seeing their enthusiasm, even if I'm having a bad day, and seeing how much is changing their lives, gives me drive to be involved in it. Because again, it's that feeling of being in a community or something. It's like military and stuff like that. You have a bond with these people, and for so long, my bonds were with drug addicts. You know what I mean? And those aren't strong bonds. The fact of the matter is, those people are out there for themselves, and so. A lot of my students, I mean, it was like they were giving so much to me that it was like, not necessarily I was feeling guilty. I was just like, they deserve better. I need to be better. You know what I mean? And through that has, I guess, given me another surge of energy for martial arts. You know what I mean? And I'm like I said, I might change in the next few years, but at this point in my life right now, it's like I don't see myself stopping doing what I'm doing anytime soon. I see myself running this school for the next 10, 20 years and hopefully be able to leave, a little legacy behind and have my students keep teaching and stuff when I'm gone and I'm not able to do it anymore. But like I said, man, it's just that feeling of, I guess a lot of it, man, has to do with doing something for somebody else without the intent of getting anything in return. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they pay me and stuff like that, but I'm not making millions of dollars from my school. I make ends meet. I make enough to, pay my bills and stuff, but it's the gratification that I get from them, like seeing them lose weight, change their perspectives on life and just be better people has changed my perspective on my life, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I was very negative and I had a lot of issues and, and I would talk to some of my students and they would tell me their stories and this, that, and the other. And it's like, man, if they can do it, I can do it. You know what I mean? And the thing is it's like I said, it's an everyday struggle to get up and train your ass off and do these things. And, sometimes stuff that you don't want to do. But when they get off work for 12 hours and they're showing up to the gym to train for 2-3 more hours and, they're excited to do it, it makes me excited. It makes me have more energy about it, and it's like I said, man, it's a good situation. But yeah, I mean, as far as my training and competition and everything, I feel like, my students definitely have given me motivation to be, to at least put forth the effort to see where I could take it and whatnot like that. So I owe a lot to them, man. They're awesome.
A year since the last fight, almost a year since the last fight, back in Arizona. How big is this one for you?
It's not that big, man, to be honest with you. I mean, it's another fight. It's another fight. But, it's just another step. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not worried about winning or losing. I'm worried about putting on a performance and having people be entertained. So it's not really that big, man. I mean, I'm excited. I'm not trying to take anything away from LFA or anything like that. But I mean, it's a great opportunity. I'm very excited about it. But like I said, I look at it just like any other fight, man. It's something that I put forth a lot of effort to do. It's something that I've been doing for the past 10 years. So to me, man, it's just another Friday, except I'm going to go make a couple grand,
It's been great getting to talk to Jacob McClintock. I mean, somebody I've been watching since Bellator days in 2010 when I was first getting into media. So for me, man, it was awesome to get to talk to you.
Same here, man. I appreciate you having me on, man. Let me give you a little view into my life.
Yeah, it's definitely a powerful and moving story, and it's the part of MMA that gets overlooked, I think, the effect that bringing people into the martial arts lifestyle has on them and how that changes in the greater thing, because a lot of fight fans are just solely MMA, what's happening in the cage, who's arguing with who, mindset, right. And there's so much more going on.
There's a lot more to this sport that people don't realize than just the fighting. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
There's a whole nother side to it that people don't understand until you actually get involved in it. You know what I mean? Like I said, I think of it. I think that the two hardest things to do in this world is war and this stuff. It's because it's tough. It's not hard, but people that do it, you build a bond with that you'll never have with anybody else. There's people that that I have been training with since I was a teenager, and they're still one of my some of my best friends, because it's like we've bled together, we've sweat together, we've went through wars and done all these things, and it's like I think of them as family. So it's like I said, it's a big difference, man, of just the fighting aspect to the whole culture behind it.
Definitely.
It's a lifestyle, man. So, and it's a great lifestyle if you're around the good people. You know what I mean? There's some people out there that are all solely out for themselves. They just want to me, and it's like you can't be that way in life or in this sport. You know what I mean? Because yes, it is you stepping into that cage, but you have trainers, you have coaches, you have training partners, you have all these things that help you get there. So you have to make sure that you're giving them just as much credit as yourself, because they're the ones that are putting in the work pretty much, for to help you get better, so right. And there's a lot of different aspects to the sport that people don't get. And, again, for me, that was one of the biggest things, man, is having a school and being able to spread my knowledge and see people change themselves for the better.
And we've talked a lot about people. Real quick touch on how nice has it been, the reunion almost, being back at Arizona Combat Sports, being back with the old coaches, seeing some old faces. How nice has that been, at least for these 2 weeks?
Oh man, it's been awesome. I feel like sometimes I'm on the borderline of crying, sometimes, and I'm on the borderline of punching them in the face. They're my best friends, and they always want to see the best for me. You know what I mean? So it's like I love these people so much. And, they've, like I said, man, they've done so much for me. And a lot of times, man, that's sometimes, like, I go through those days that I hate doing what I'm doing, or this, that, or the other. And I'm like, I look back at these moments, kind of like, you ever seen that Slumdog Millionaire movie?
Yeah.
It's like he looks back on his life and, like, has these moments that allows him to answer these questions. And it's like, I'll do that stuff. Like, I'll be doing, I'll be getting ready for, to go with my guys to a tournament or something, or it'll just be like one or two of them. And I'll be like, man, I really don't want to have to go all the way up there, spend this money, and just to coach one guy. And I think back, and I'm like, man, my jiu-jitsu coach, Gustavo Dantes, used to drive me to California, just me, to compete. You know what I mean? And it's like those type of things that really resonated with me as a coach now that have made me better. I look back at all these times that, my stand-up coaches, Todd and Trevor, would fly with me. I mean, they went to Russia and all these places with me, and, they didn't have to do that. They had kids, and they have families, wives that they're leaving here, and I never really understood that until I have a daughter now. So it's like, I understand what they sacrificed and stuff. So it's like, when my students ask me something like that, I always try to do my best to make sure that I'm there to support them and do all these things. So again, it's all these things that have happened in my life that have, made me the person I am now. So like I said, man, I could look back at all this and point fingers and do all these things and, still be a drug addict because of whatever reason. But, that's the thing, man, is I don't want to. I never wanted to be a drug addict. Since I was 9 years old, I wanted to be a UFC fighter. You know what I mean? I started training 2001. My life was this. So I'm just now starting to get back to that after, 10, 15 years of kind of, and I mean, like I said, my entire MMA career was maybe 50%, there wasn't one or two, maybe one time, maybe two fights that I had that I was like, I feel good. I feel like I could go 15 minutes, no problem. So it's like a lot of my fights were half-assed. Even tournaments jiu-jitsu wise, I never really put 100%. And it's like now I feel that if I could have done this stuff 50%, if I could put 100% into this, who knows where I could end up, So that's kind of where I'm at now, man. It's just trying to take it one day at a time, trying to be the best I can every day. Just working, grinding, trying to keep my head above water.
It's a great story that you're living. It's an amazing overcome of adversity and will to persevere and an amazing turnaround, dude.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Can't wait to see you back in the cage.
I feel like a lot of it, man, it's just life. I think some of us have to go through that stuff to realize, like I said, that there's something better for you if you want it. You know what I mean? A lot of kids nowadays, they grow up in a bad family environment, this, that, and the other. But, again, man, it's a lot of it was just, listening to other people's stories, kind of like, we're doing now, is like listening to like David Goggins or like these people's stories are horrific stuff that they went through. And, they're solid now. And it's like, I want to be that. I don't want to be a drug addict and this, that, and the other. I want to be not necessarily somebody that is looked up to by everybody. I don't really care about that. I would rather just people just look at my story and be like, man, if he could do it, I could do it. Or I feel the same way that he felt, things like that. And, so again, man, it's kind of just, I hope that, somebody, one or two people could hear this and see the light at the end of the tunnel, man. Because sometimes that's all they need is just that little pick me up or this, that, or the other to kind of change their perspective. So, but man, sometimes it's like I said, man, I had to go through this stuff to be the person I am. If I didn't go through all this shit, I wouldn't be here talking to you right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would be somewhere else. So I'm blessed to have gone through that stuff, and it's a roller coaster, but it's something that I accept and I work at being better about it and stuff. But yeah, man, it was tough, but like I said, man, it's something that I wanted to do. I wanted to get away from it. It wasn't, it really wasn't a struggle at that point. Once I really wanted to leave that lifestyle behind, it wasn't really too difficult.
It's also like another level of bravery and courage to open yourself up, to be that vulnerable, to be that analyzed, to share your story,
Yeah.
to let people know, to be fully honest, because that takes another level to admit that to the world, to tell everybody. It's different to tell yourself.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I've held this stuff in. I mean, a lot of people don't even know about the Bellator stuff. You know what I mean? Like, me doing the Oxycontins and heroin and stuff, like a couple weeks before the fights and, that stuff like that. But again, I mean, I can guarantee there's several other people out there that have went through the same stuff that I went through, and, that stuff will resonate with them. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those things, and I've kept a lot of it in for a long time, and it's not healthy for one. And like I said, I've heard so many people's stories that have made indents in my life and in my mindset and stuff that it's kind of, it'd be me doing them a disservice to not share my story and hope that it would do the same for somebody else, if that makes sense.
Totally. It's been great getting to talk to you. I mean, I'm psyched to see
Absolutely
you in the cage. You as a martial artist, see what you look like coming up on Friday night, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it, sir.
LFA 72, Comerica Theater. If you guys can be there live in Phoenix, Arizona. Jacob, how can everybody keep up with you on social media?
You hit me up on Instagram. It's Jacob underscore McClintock, or Facebook. It's just Jacob McClintock. And then that's pretty much it, man. I mean, if they want to hit me up, ask me questions or anything, feel free. But that's pretty much it. I don't have a Twitter, man. I'm not a big twatter.
Any pages for the gym?
Yeah, just TikTok, bjj.com. If anybody in that area wants to come and try a class, man, they're more than welcome to.
And then it's, where are you located?
North Charleston, South Carolina.
Awesome. I actually think I have a photographer buddy out that way that I might want to get you in contact with, get you in the gym some exposure.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That'd be awesome.
Awesome, sir. Did you have other people that you needed to thank and shout out to?
Just the usual, man. My gym, all the guys at TikTok, and then Arizona Combat Sports, Trevor and Jameson, Todd, Steve Rosenberg, all those guys, everybody at GD Jiu-Jitsu, Gustavo Dantes, and the guys over there, my management company, Arizona Fight Management, and then all my sponsors too as well for this fight. I don't remember all of them, but Jits Juice, let's see here, Thirsty Straws, Stone's Throat Tavern, and trying to forget a couple other, man, I might even not know them. But anyways, all the people that are supporting me, I just want to say thank you to all of them.